So today I'll be talking about the carbon project at Makame Wildlife Management Area, which is a registered community-based organization in 2006. And of course, it is the largest wildlife management area in Tanzania, having an area of about 4,000 kilometers square. It is also the first wildlife management area to successfully invest in a carbon project, which is partnering with Carbon Tanzania since 2016. So this project is an environmental initiative that aims at protecting forests for communities, wildlife, and climate. So we use the RED plus approach, to address the carbon emission while helping villages manage their land sustainably. So the communities retain full rights and decision-making power, and revenue from carbon credit sales is shared locally, delivering both environmental and social benefits to the community. So I was born in the year when the WMA was proposed in 1998, after the Tanzanian Parliament passed the WMA Act. And I have heard from our elders how hard the process was at the first. People feared that the WMA is just another way to grab the land. So if your land is taken and you are compensated, then you are settled. But for us, it's very different because land is everything. It is life. So over time, with trust and good leadership, the community began to see the WMA not a threat, but as a way to protect what matters first. So in the early years of establishing the WMA, it was difficult to protect the area because the member villages were required to contribute some amount of money to pay for the fuel to do patrols to protect the whole area. But it was not enough, for the WMA has remained just vulnerable to encroachment and poaching. So as time goes, the situation began to change. When the WMA started receiving funds from tourist investment, which is tourist hunting, and the donors, like Hanegard Foundation. So in 2019, the first carbon credit funds arrived, and that made a huge difference. It gave us reliable resources to protect our land and help secure the project area itself from the threats. And although there is an increasing pressure from the outside seeking land for farming, the WMA working closely with the district is securing the land, and because it's having the reliable funding and strong protection measures in place. This collaboration has made the area much safer from external threats, such as land degradation and illegal farming. So with the carbon revenues, we improved the protection of the WMA and the carbon project area from encroachment. Other projects includes building 4 dormitories and 2 maternity wards that help students and mothers stay safe respectively. More importantly, we bought 15 high-quality bulls to improve cattle breeding, which make a big difference for local livelihoods, as we all depend on livestock. We also built classrooms, hired volunteer teachers, provided health insurance for low-income families, built new offices, and all these are the projects that the community made decision on. So these are real, visible benefits, and they come from the community having control over the revenue is used. So now, as Alex has explained about VM 048, I'll be talking a bit about experience of the transition from VM 7 to VM 48, which is more consolidated method from Vera. So this involves also expanding about the area of the carbon accounting, the Makame WMA area. So previously, back 2016, to date, we were counting the areas in the northern part of the WMA for carbon accounting. And knowing that this is a big change, it was important to involve the community fully. And we shared the proposal during the authorized the association meetings, which is AA for the Makame, and the community agreed of the transition. So this was just the part of what we call FPIC, which is free, prior, and informed consent, which means people have the information and understand and agree before anything goes on. So after the community agreed, we worked together on a new forest inventory just early this month, which included 20 sampling plots, 10 plots being in the forest and 10 being in the post-deforested areas, which is the requirement of the VERA for a new consolidated methodology VM48. So this process has involved members from Carbon Tanzania, I myself and our CIO, members from Makame WMA, involved the Terra Carbon, and the district forest officer. This kind of transparency and participation approach is how we do things, and it is why trust remains strong. So people often ask whether carbon markets really work for communities. So I can say it clearly works. As at Makame, the community have power over the land and over how revenue is used, and the benefits are real for people and the land for the climate. Thank you so much.
And Kisaro, maybe a question for you. For the Tanzanian example, we had some questions about how much carbon revenue contributes to the protection and conservation of the area. Are those activities that you're undertaking being subsidized by the government or civil society, or is it just something that Carbon Tanzania itself is supporting? There's a huge burden on product developers to have a lot of capital to get these projects up and running. And as you even mentioned earlier in your presentation, it took a few years, I think until 2019, until your community saw some of the revenues. So can you just, if you can, please explain a little bit more about the structure and how financing works, or the challenges there?
So as I explained before, Makame WMA that we Carbon Tanzania work with is having just two investments. It is investing on tourist hunting and carbon project. So over 35% of its general income, including carbon and the tourist hunting, is spent on the protection. So the issue there that we experience at Makame is not just like the protection is depending on the funds, because the community is the center of the protection. The community itself protect the area. So the percent that the WMA is setting for the protection is to help just to fuel the cars, pay the VGS, to do the patrols. But in general, protection is done in the community by informing the VGS to respond on the incidents that they see as including encroachment or poaching. So the community is like working very close there with the WMA. So as instead of VGS to be the policemen, they just respond as firemen on the incidents being reported by the community.
Right. So that community collaboration is really key to the project, and a major feature of how it's able to operate and be successful. Thank you. That's really helpful to understand.